Keegs is with us on a Monday. And Keegan, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but their captain was booed on Saturday night on home ice. So you remember that window where the Leafs captured for the first few months of the season and the Jays can figure things out? Well, I hope the Toronto Blue Jays know that they have a captive audience from day one this year.
It's open. And Dan, I always know when that window is because the day the Leafs get eliminated from the postseason, or from the playoffs, sorry, baseball talk, the day they get eliminated from the playoffs every single year, my life changes for the worse. Because the next day, every radio station in Canada says, you know what, Keegan, we'd like to catch up on where the Blue Jays are. Mm-hmm. And I can tell. I just wake up one day, I have 100 text messages on my phone. But I don't think they're going to be fighting for that this year, man. I'm interested to see what happens at the trade deadline. It seems like the vibes are terrible. And suddenly we're talking about a Jays team that has people's attention from the beginning, which hasn't been the case in a while, honestly, man. Like, I think even going back to 15 and 16, really, like the 21, 22, 23 teams weren't exactly that. So this is going to be cool how this plays out. I think you're going to see bigger crowds than we've seen
since the 90s.
Since the early 90s?
Yeah,
early in the year, right? Like, I don't think you're going to see those Tuesdays with 18,000 people anymore. So it's fun, man. It's cool to be around. It's the opposite of the Leafs right now. And as I was saying, Dan, before we came on, other than that, I have no comment on Austin Matthews. You know, I don't want to go viral. I don't want to end up on Fox News all week and having things mailed to my house. So no comment.
But Keegs, here's the thing that this Leafs team has managed to do. They've managed to lose the fan base in which you could name any player on that Leaf squad and trade them, and a hardcore Leafs fan would say, I don't care. That is tough to do.
And it's a stubborn fan base, too. And I mean that in a good way, honestly, about Leafs fans. I know Leafs fans can be nuts, but I also know that they are extremely passionate and stubborn and stick by their team. And what I sense now from Leafs fans, and Dan, like, I try to be a little more in touch with this now that I'm doing more like radio hosting and stuff, I sense like a kind of apathy, you know, like whatever. Like, as long as you're not busting up the core, which people would care about in one way or the other, it's just kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. Try to get a first, whatever that's going to take. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. We'll see. But once people start to be exhausted by a team, that's dangerous, man. The middle is the worst place to be. We've talked about it a lot with baseball, but the middle is a terrible place to be, especially when you're talking about, year 40 of this core. I mean, this core, Dan, I think really started when I moved to Toronto almost 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, it's the only one that's ever existed. And, man, there's got to be a life beyond this, but I don't know how close they are to it.
Now, if we go deeper, how much did the Blue Jays and their season last year factor into this? Because it's almost like, well, I don't know if I should break up with this person, but if you've got someone already there that you can focus your attention on, then that changes everything. And I think that's the role that the Blue Jays never held in the past, because Leafs fans, like, you're all we've got. Now they're like, we got this over here.
There's options, man. You know, despite some of the less than glowing things I have said about Toronto in the past, allegedly, there's a lot to do in Toronto, man. And this is something that the Blue Jays have been up against. And honestly, Dan, I think that this goes back to the core of a lot of what the Jays have done with, like, even their in-stadium experience, renovations and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to do in Toronto. Okay, this is not a market where there's one pro sports team that people go to no matter what. Like, when we start to talk about Leafs games that are not sold out, that's scary. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I don't think anyone in the right mind is paying full ticket price for those a lot of the time, but you know how it works. It's all bought up, corporate ticket sales. Someone offers you a ticket they have from their company, blah, blah, blah. To see Leafs games that are not sold out, that are not the hottest ticket in town, is kind of jarring, man, to be honest with you. And there's something else to go to. Like, frankly, you can go up the street to a Blue Jays game. And, you know, I'm not trying out for a marketing position here, but I just think this is the reality. You can go up the road to Rogers Center. You can have a beer and a hot dog that probably cost the same. Your ticket's going to cost less. And you're going to see a team that has championship aspirations, which no longer exists down the road at a Leafs game. So it's really shifted everything. You know, The Raptors exist in the middle. I think they're good and they can't be great. So I think that they're caught in a weirder zone than people want to admit. But that's not the Leafs anymore, man. And I'm fascinated as a hockey casual, still I'll admit to be, is how much does pride get in the way of this? When great organizations, we see this with the Dallas Cowboys, they never want to do a full rebuild because the mighty Cowboys cannot do a full rebuild. They retool. Is that going to get in the way of all this? Do we get stuck in this for years? It's a bad place to be, but if you're the Blue Jays, you're just sitting up the road doing this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Come on to the ballpark.
Keith Pelly putting in phone calls to Atkins and Shapiro. Hey, I know everyone hated you guys for like 5 to 8
Welcome to the
years. How did
club,
you
baby.
guys change that?
Winning.
Yeah.
No matter what other BS you want to talk about, win games, man. Nothing, no cheap hot dogs or anything else are going to sway fans more than wins. All that matters. And I guess they're going to learn that real quick.
So how are things at Jay's camp right now? It must feel like the buses got canceled because everyone's away at the WBC.
Yeah, man, it's a little weird. I walked in today. You start to see some lineups that don't have, Vladdy and the big stars in it, Kirk, Clement, Okamoto, Andres Jimenez. It's the whole infield. And then you walk in today and you see this big Hummer parked right in front of the clubhouse. And I lose track of which players belong to which vehicles, other than Berrios, who I think has my favorite one. But you see this big Hummer in front of the clubhouse. Max Scherzer's here, baby. He's throwing bullpens. I was taking a video of Scherzer through the fence, and I had to stop it like 10 times just because he kept cursing. I was like, well, I can't post him like MFing the pitch and stuff, so I barely got a video. But he just stepped in here, man. It's like it's the middle of September. He's dripping sweat. He threw a million pitches. So it still feels like there's some life around here, and it's a lot of focus will be in the pitching staff now. But it's strange, man. And I'm excited for the WBC. Like, I think back to how the last one ended, USA, Japan, Ohtani, Trout. Like, I think the WBC has some real juice right now. Like, I really do. And I'm excited to see, like, the numbers, how many people are into this, because it's we were talking before we came on, Dan. Like, once you've watched a Blue Jays playoff run and a World Series run, like, it's going to be hard to get up for games in April and May, right? You want there to be stakes. Mm-hmm. And I love the stakes of the WBC. I don't think that we can recreate it in Canada or the United States, that feeling. But in Latin America, in Japan, how much it matters is really hard to explain. Like, it is massive, a national event. So I love watching the Latin teams, Samurai Japan, like even like we're seeing videos, Dan, of their batting practice. And Ohtani is just like the Beatles all by himself on the field, man. It's so cool. So I'm fired up for that.
By the way, I also love steaks. Can we go back to Berrios? What's he driving?
It's what is it? Is it a Maybach or no? I'm not shopping in that range, but it's one of those nice two-tone vehicles, and I know it vividly, Dan, because I came so close to backing into him a year ago. Missed him by like 6 inches. So it's always dangerous because how it works for the image is that we're on this side of town to start the morning. We do the clubhouse, we interview people, then everyone goes over to the stadium across town. So everyone's pulling out at the same time, which means like, a lot of very expensive pickup trucks and all of the Maseratis and Porsches and everything else. And then I'm just ripping out in my like Hyundai rental SUV, so I got to be a little more careful these days because that insurance claim might ruin my life.
Is there a Toronto Blue Jay that kind of is the butt of jokes because they kept their 98 Civic, or is there a player like that who's holding on to what got them there and the struggle is real?
So I'll tell you, I don't know any on this current team, but Tim Meza, the left-handed reliever, I remember the guys used to give Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson used to make fun of him because he drove a Kia Sorento or a Kia Telluride, but it was a Kia. Mm-hmm. And I wrote just a goofy spring training story a couple of years ago about how they want to make Tim Meza cool again. They had all these ideas. They wanted him running into Notorious B.I.G. with like a cigar out of his mouth. But Tim Meza was like the Costco jeans dad of the team, great guy. I loved covering him, but he drove a Kia and everyone gave him a hard time. And I was at spring training last year And this woman comes up to me and she says, "You know what? I bought a Kia Sportage or whatever it was because of your story. Like me and my husband were looking at compact, sensible SUVs, and I read, if Tim Mesa drives it, let's go for a test drive." And they ended up buying it. So I'm still waiting for my Kia brand dealership. If anyone from Kia is listening, I will sell out. I am eager to sell out at every opportunity. But yeah, there's a few guys who are smart about it. That's who I would be. I would sign my $5 million bonus and buy like a good base model Toyota Tacoma and drive it for 400,000 miles. But when you look in that parking lot, there's a lot of guys who are making decisions like I would have when I was 18 years old, I think.
I don't know if you've ever been to a CFL parking lot, but I saw the difference when I was in Vancouver. I went in one day from the BC Lions practice and saw what was in their parking lot to a Vancouver Canucks practice. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that would be a good article comparing the vehicles because there were cars that were barely roadworthy at that Lions practice.
I love it, man. It's good working man's vehicles, stuff to get you to the fire calls and stuff. But it's yeah, I'm always curious, man. I'm always walking down and I can kind of think like that's probably a lease. That's been financed. That's a lease. But man, there's some money in this parking lot, let me tell you.
Your article today on MLB.com is talking about bubble players. Give us a glimpse at some guys that are fighting for a spot right now.
Yeah, it feels like there's two-ish competitions left, Dan. And the 25th and 26th spots on the rosters aren't the most exciting thing, but damn it, I'm here for 3 more weeks and we've got to make it matter. So the last position player spot, it kind of feels to me like it's Leo Jimenez versus whoever else. Jimenez is out of options, even though he's young, so he's going to have every chance to win this. Ben Cowles, who was their other utility infielder, he's gone on waivers now. So there's prospects. I think Josh Kasevich is going to be someone we're talking about a ton more, if not by midseason, then even earlier. But right now, the Jays are kind of just waiting for Leo Jimenez. Like, come on, man, just take this job. And I'm not sure if it's there yet. So also wouldn't surprise me, and I hate that wording, wouldn't surprise me if too many media people use that, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense for them, I should say, to bring in another veteran infielder at this point in spring training or scour the waiver wire. We'll see. The other spot, and this has some roster tangles into it too, is the last spot in the bullpen. So you've got the two Rule 5 pitchers, Angel Bastardo and Spencer Miles. If they don't make the team, you've got to send them back to their old team. I'd put Bastardo first. He looks really good, and he's young. He's got big arm. I think that you might be tempted to ride with that and see how it goes. But then there's others like Tommy Nance. He's out of options. Chase Lee has looked good, but he has options. So sometimes it works against you when you do have options remaining. You can get kind of pushed out of AAA. So right now it looks like the Rule 5 guys versus Tommy Nance, who I have been told, Dan, I named Tommy Nance Big Diesel last year. That has been changed to the Big Rig, and it's now engraved on his glove. So the Big Rig versus the Rule 5 guys. Welcome to the final weeks of spring training. This is what it's all about, baby.
Might be copyright infringement. Former Ottawa senator and friend of mine, Chris Phillips, used to be called Big Rig, and he actually started a beer brand called Big Rig.
There we go. That sounds like an IPA. That sounds like it's a little strong for me. I'm a light boy these days.
He sold the company. I think he made some bank.
There we go.
Let's I want to leave you with this because it's something I was giving thought to in talking to a hockey buddy who's played in the NHL, worked in the league for his entire life. And he talked about the game losing fans because there's just the product is not watchable. And I described how baseball is back. And my philosophy was because of the way the world is with everything instant on your phone, baseball is grabbing fans because it's slowing their lives down and they're actually sitting and enjoying it and their mind is given some peace. Am I too psychedelic thinking? And that is why baseball is seeing a resurgence is because of the fast-paced world we're in.
I really think that's part of it. And I think that baseball, broadly speaking, is doing a better job of marketing, personalities, which the NBA has always been the model for. The NHL is just terrible at,
Hmm.
but um, I think that you're seeing better marketing of the game. It's hitting the younger crowd.
Hmm.
But right now, Dan, when I think of baseball versus other sports, it's reliable. I'm a big NBA basketball fan, and I'm watching games every night where how many teams are tanking in this league? 12. It's unbearable. There are dozens of superstars who are out for the rest of the season or missing games with injuries that we all know they would be playing through if their team was competitive. So something feels unsettled in the foundation of the NBA right now. And that's going to be a big talking point, like what Adam Silver and the commissioner is going to do through the offseason. Like, I think that's pretty major. But the NBA does not feel reliable right now.
Hmm.
Baseball is reliable, okay? You don't run into tanking. If a team's bad, they're just kind of bad, okay? It's not because they're going to sit Paul Skeens down and say, hey, just pretend that your hamstring's sore for the last 4 months so that we can increase our lottery odds by 3%. Baseball is honest and reliable right now. And I think that's a very good place. And that's why I hope we are talking about an uninterrupted 2027 because like I know that I'm in the business, Dan, of wanting baseball to matter to people. It's probably good for my life, but I mean this honestly that baseball is hot right now. Like it
Yeah.
really is. And it's getting better amongst younger fans, but it's just there's so much going on and very, very broadly. And I can open my phone and lose 12 hours to watching slop all day. But baseball is reliably there every night at 7, 1:30 on weekends, and you can count on it. And I think it's nice to have a couple of those still spots in a world that is otherwise a bit of a mess. So it's in a good spot.
Reliable and marketing. Yeah. When you think of a Major League Baseball star, when you picture it in your head, like an Otani, you see like an Avenger. When you picture
Yeah.
the same type of athlete in another sport, like Connor McDavid, I'm sorry, he's great, but it doesn't have the same like
Doesn't do it for
he's
me.
like rising above everyone in like a cartoonish like fashion.
Baseball is in such a sweet spot with young stars right now too. Like every market, even the bad teams have their stars. Like in Pittsburgh, which has had some rough years, you've got Paul Skeens coming up and Connor Griffin, who might be the next superstar in this league. Oakland's got their young core coming. Like every market, there's so many great young Latin stars and Asian stars. Like it's just working right now, man. It is working. They are cooking with gas, and it is going very well.
I love it. Well, I enjoy the weather because it is bitter cold here. Extend your stay if you can, Keegs.
No, thank you.